Hello! On the occasion of the second Great Horse Race Championship, I'd like to share a little about the event itself. We probably won't discover anything new here, but sometimes it's worth knowing things we don't use in our daily lives anyway. The basis of this event is a race between 4 players. Occasionally, fewer players will participate, but more on that in a moment. At the beginning of each of the 3 rounds, the player chooses their horse. It can be the best thoroughbred, a slightly lesser bred, or a standard racehorse. They differ not only in the maximum number of cards a player can hold in their hand, but also in their base speed, from which card multipliers are calculated. Since these values are hidden in the game code, I won't attempt to reveal them. At the beginning of each new game, i.e. at the beginning of the first round, we have 8 cards and 3 horses to choose from. Considering that having a full hand won't grant us additional cards when crossing a checkpoint, it's worth choosing a horse right from the start to get rid of a few cards and not lose speed. Cards can be played one at a time, in a pair, a 3 of a kind, a bomb, a straight, or a combination of consecutive pairs or 3s. Don't try to get 2 consecutive bombs, they can't be used together. Depending on the card value, the acceleration effect can be greater or lesser. A pair of 10s will give us a greater acceleration than a pair of 8s, and so on. A straight from 5 to 9 will be slower than a straight from 6 to 10. Of course, the number of cards in a straight also matters, but a full straight from 1 to 10 will still be slower than 3 consecutive 3s of 8s, 9s, and 10s. Sometimes a card will have a special icon, such as a whip. Depending on the icon, it can provide various effects, from speeding up your horse, slowing down your opponent, or even enhancing the effects of card combinations. Some special cards can be combined, completely changing the course of the race, while others cannot. Everything is listed in the effect description itself. The race itself is quite simple. The horses run on their own, and you use cards to speed them up. As mentioned earlier, you start with 8 cards and 3 horses. In each of the 3 rounds, you also have 3 checkpoints, which give you 3 more cards up to a limit. Between checkpoints, the start and the finish, you can use 2 cards or 2 combinations. This requires careful consideration. And a bit of caution, as good card combinations don't always appear in your hand. At the finish line, you also receive 3 cards, so I highly recommend reaching it with a maximum of 5 cards. In the next round, we have fewer horses to choose from, as each horse can only participate once in each game. We start the next round with the cards we ended the previous round with, plus the 3 additional cards I mentioned earlier. Of course, you can cheat the system a bit and start with more cards. In that case, you have to end the round with 10 or 9 cards in your hand and choose a horse with fewer card slots. But does that make much sense? I wouldn't say so, although the possibility remains. Let's move on to the rewards. In normal mode, you receive tokens, while in championship mode, you receive tokens and medals. Both tokens and medals have their own stores, which reset periodically. It's possible, as is the case now, that during a single store reset, we'll have 2 championships, resulting in shortages on store shelves. This may change in the future, or it may not. In normal mode, each match costs tokens, 500, 2,000, or 5,000. Depending on the challenge level. Of course, this also brings better rewards for achieving a high position. Normal mode also allows you to level up to and including 60. You can try as many times a day as you have tokens. You also receive 2,000 free tokens each day, so with a bit of luck, you can completely empty the store in a few days. Championship mode is a bit different. In this mode, you have 3 free attempts each day during the championship, with subsequent attempts being awarded for black diamonds. Both modes also feature independent seasonal objectives. Completing them rewards you with a decent amount of tokens or medals, so it's worth trying to earn at least a few. However, the most interesting thing is the leaderboards. They only consider the 100 fastest players, and they are well rewarded for their efforts. However, reaching this exclusive top sprinters also requires a great deal of luck in drawing cards. In championship mode, it's possible that even though there are 4 players at the starting line, only 3 will actually participate. This happens for several reasons, but the most important is fairness to the players. The system tries to match actual players, but if that's not possible, it fills the empty slot with a randomly selected account and then blocks that account from participating. Apparently, this was easier for the developers. I think that's all the most important aspects of this event. Thank you for today, and see you soon.